Welcome to Love and Lattes, the podcast designed for women who are ready to stop settling and start living a life full of authentic love, confidence, and real connection. I'm your host, Victoria, the self-love scientist, speaker, and coach, and I'm here to help you reclaim your power, deepen your relationships, and fall unapologetically in love with yourself. So grab your tea, your latte, or your favorite beverage, and let's get started. Did you know there might be some underlying things that might be getting in the way of how you love yourself? Well, my loves, today's conversation is a powerful one. Today, we're talking about those hidden patterns that shape our emotions, behaviors, and even relationships without even realizing it. I am joined by Karen Seltz, a transformational guide who helps people clear the deepest pain from their past quickly and gently by working with the subconscious mind. Karen has overcome addiction, anxiety, perfectionism, and even low self-worth, and has taken her passions and experiences to help people bridge the way to lasting healing. So today we're going to dive into the subconscious mind and how it's influencing everything. So if you ever felt like you're stuck or disconnected, this conversation is for you. Welcome, Karen. Welcome to Love and Lattes.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I'm so excited to dive into this. Love it.
Me too. I haven't, I think the first time I heard of the subconscious mind was in that book by Eckhart Tolle. Um, and now I can't think of the book.
The Power of Now.
Yes, The Power of Now, but then there's the other one.
New Earth.
Let me see while I'm thinking
I
about
think it could be New Earth. He
Eckhart.
has several.
I remember The Power of Now, but I swear there's another book. Someday I will figure that out. Maybe it wasn't even him.
But anyway.
Yeah, anyway, let me just bring us back. So, Karen, for those listening, can you give us the sweet and kindergarten version of what the subconscious mind is and the other parts that are there as well? I feel like those words nowadays, whether it's unconscious, conscious, can be used a lot in like videos, and it can kind of get a little confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said the kindergarten version,
Yeah.
because one of the main things I say to people is the subconscious mind is responsible for 95% of everything you think, feel, believe, and do. For example, when's the last time you thought of how you move your tongue to make a T sound? Like if you had to think about that, you couldn't string words together. It would take up all your focus, because consciously, whether you think you're good at multitasking or not, you can only really concentrate on one thing at a time. Ta, ta, ta. So I have my little goat props. So if you're listening, just know I have the cutest little goat here. The subconscious mind, this is a simplification, but it is as smart as a goat or a 4-year-old. And the problem that most of the clients that I deal with are really intelligent people, a lot of entrepreneurs, CEOs, and they are speaking to their subconscious mind as if it has a PhD or as if it's as smart as they are. But the problem is it doesn't speak the same language, so it has no idea what you're asking it to do. So, for example, do you remember when the old computers were around, those big clunky ones? I don't know if you remember, you're too young, but there were these old clunky computers and they spoke a particular language, right? A code.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's kind of what's running the show here. Our subconscious mind is like that old computer, only it's available to do lots of complex things at the same time, whereas those old ones don't. But imagine the conscious mind, which is responsible for your higher level thinking. I'll explain that in a moment. It's only responsible for 5% of everything, but it's like a high-speed microprocessor. And these two facets of mind, they don't speak the same language, so they are prone to dysfunction. It's just the way it is. I tell people the only thing wrong with your mind is you got a human one.
Oh.
Yeah. So nothing wrong with you, but our subconscious minds are designed for situations we will never be in. So there are two common emotions that trigger a sympathetic nervous system response. What is that? That's fight, flight, or freeze. Most people know it as that. So fear, I could go down the rabbit hole, Victoria. Just stop me if you want me to stop.
You're good. Keep going. I love it.
It's the Karen show. Da, da, da. Fear is an emotional and physiological response to a perceived threat. Humans are the only life form that can perceive a threat that's not there. We can think about, oh gosh, I have this presentation coming up. What if everybody laughs at me? Or what if I forget what I'm supposed to say
Mhm.
and I look stupid? There's no threat to your survival. Zero. If people laugh at you or reject you, you won't die physically. But the subconscious mind is so primitive that it's reading the data as if there's a lion chasing you. And we are hardwired for connection. We know that, well, we used to know, or we think we know, that if we're abandoned by our tribe, humanity, everybody that we know and love, that we're going to be left to ourselves to go off and die. And in some parts of the world, they still do this. Somebody offends the tribe, they send them out on their own, and it's just expected they won't survive on their own. And we have that same mind, and that's driving our choices. So I'm going to pause there.
No, this is great. I think I feel like the fear kind of stems from, like you said, that word what if, and I feel like we tend to use that as our way of making decisions. Like, well, what is, like, people say, oh, what's the worst thing that can happen? I was like, what if we reframed that, and instead of saying the worst case, like, what's the best case? And I remember there was a book I was reading. Her name is, I think it's Regina Thompson, and she expressed that, what's, the worst case scenarios, it doesn't work. They do laugh at you, but the goal is that you're stepping forward. And when you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, which we think is a threat, it's actually what strengthens us to go forward. So I think it's interesting that, yeah, we do have this tendency to create these scenarios, which some of them, may not even be like, it's not really going to happen. It's just at some point or another, we were made to feel that way. Or it's just that, for human beings we love nowadays, we're always in comfort over challenge.
Mm. Oh, that's such a good point. Well, here's the thing: is like smart people also love ahas. We love them, right? Like, oh my gosh, I learned this thing and now I'm going to be different. Well, again, the subconscious mind doesn't understand your ahas. And it takes a lot of effort, a lot of willpower to overpower the subconscious mind, but you can't do it for very long. The the subconscious is reading anything you haven't done before as potentially dangerous and maybe fatal. And if you've gone out of your way to avoid something, it knows, it's certain that this thing must be fatal, potentially fatal, or why would you go out of your way to avoid it? And so it throws everything at you. You might feel like all this heaviness in your body, like you can't physically move forward, or you'll get some idea, oh, I got to do this other thing first. Or you might have the thought, if I show up on video and I don't know what I'm talking about, everybody's going to laugh at me. I'm going to lose potential business and they're never going to do business with me again, ever. And I'm like, people have a 20-second memory these days. It's like a goldfish. It's like, no one's going to remember that you messed up on video. It's just gone. And the subconscious mind is so powerful. And we don't realize that we're not taught how to communicate with it, what it's in charge of, what it controls. The other thing is, this is really kind of comical, but if you go out of your way to do something unhealthy, your mind makes up that must be a really good thing to do, or else why would you be going out of your way to do it? And it creates patterns and impulses in your body in your mind to get you to do the thing. So I'll give you an example of somebody who smokes. You can't smoke inside of a restaurant or a bar anymore. You have to go outside. You can't smoke inside of a workplace. You have to go outside. Most people, if they have families, they don't smoke inside their homes. So they must go out of their way to do this thing. And the mind thinks that must be a really good thing to do.
Interesting. And you said earlier that, the subconscious mind, which is in control of 95% of what we're doing, is so powerful. And yet we don't know how to talk to it. And then you brought the goat. So how can we learn how to talk to it and create, better decisions or help us remove those blocks that's getting in the way of like our best potential or even holding us back from thriving in relationships?
Yeah, great question. Somebody just asked me, do you have a guide on this? I said, I get to create one because I talk about it all the time, but I haven't created it exactly. So, language, it responds to very specific language. So, when I'm working with someone clearing past trauma, I say the event must have had a beginning and an ending. For example, if I say I was abused in childhood, that's not an event, it's a generality. The subconscious mind has no idea what to do with that. So if I say there was a time where I was sleeping, I was 3 years old, and I was awoken by a spanking, that's a specific event, right? So the subconscious mind knows what to do with specifics. Here's the easiest gauge. Would a 4-year-old understand you? And I like this example. So a lot of my peeps, they'll say like affirmations, I am abundant, I am free, something like that. I say, go tell a 4-year-old, be abundant. And they'll look at you like you're insane. If you say, like, touch your nose, I can do that. So as far as self-love goes, that's a concept. The subconscious mind has no idea what that means. It's not specific. It is a concept, and most people don't know what it means. So what I would suggest is break that down into action steps. How does a person who loves themselves act? What actions do they take? What thoughts do they think? How do they treat others? When they catch, the inner dialogue, we all have it, the inner mean girl, we all have it. And what I invite people to do is catch it quicker and celebrate the fact that you caught it. Because if you're saying, oh, there I go again, I should know better, it will go unconscious again because it's too painful. So it's like, oh my gosh, I caught it, because it's going to be there. And what I like to do is shorten the distance of time that it gets to have free reign in there without me saying, hey, all right, I see you. And is that really true? I just question it. Is it really true? Really? What do I want to believe about myself? So those are a couple of things. I can give you 100. One of the bigger ones is the subconscious mind does not understand negation. What does that mean? It means people say, I don't want another narcissist. Well, children and your subconscious mind do not understand negatives. They only understand what the content is. So your mind hears, I want another narcissist. Okay, let me find you one. I have lots of data stored that I can draw upon. I will get you exactly what you asked for. Those
So
are a couple good ones.
that is a good point. It's like when people say, don't think of the pink elephant, and then it's there. So in that case, when someone is trying to approach or enter, to do the new, like you said, what does a person who loves themselves, how do they show up? How do they speak, look, act? And then when you mention, I don't want to be with another narcissist, would you say instead, I want to be with someone who is confident in their career? Like it's almost
Exactly.
like you have to
What do
kind
you
of
want? It's
say,
just a little shift. What do you want? Because the mind is designed to, whatever you focus on expands, and it is
mm,
filtering through 10 million bits of information every single second. I mean, that I can't even wrap my head around what that means. 10 million bits of information every second. I haven't done the math on what that is in a minute, but it's a lot of bits. And it is bringing to your conscious awareness what you've told it is valuable for you.
mhm.
Notice I didn't say the word important. Language is so crucial. So important is like, this is important to me. Your mind reads that word as important to your survival. In fact, necessary for your survival. And it's usually not. So I'll give you an example. If you don't feed your dog, they will die. That's important. If you don't water your plants, they'll die. That's important, right? It's important not to leave your kid in a car in the summer in Arizona. But when your mind thinks something is necessary for your survival, what happens? Boom, you get a cocktail of survival chemicals. What are those good for? You
Mm.
get, if you're afraid, your legs and arms get flooded with blood, fresh blood, so that you can run really fast for a short period of time to escape the predator. So let me ask you this, Victoria. When's the last time you outran a bear?
I can't say I have.
So when that happens, your choice making ability is completely severed. When you are afraid, it is in your best interest to run really fast to escape the predator. So I'll give you another example. If a guy is chasing you with a knife and there's a child on the sidewalk who scraped their knee and crying, do you think you will even see or hear that child?
Mm.
No. If you did, if you hesitated for a second, you'd be dead. So your mind disappears everything else except the clear path to escape the predator. So you get like that narrowed vision,
Yeah.
and you don't have access to your ability to think strategically, creatively, compassionately for yourself or someone else. And this trigger happens unconsciously because your mind, when it's filtering through those 10 million bits every second, it's also looking in the data banks like, hey, does anything I'm seeing out here in the environment remind me of anything difficult, shocking, or traumatic that we experienced in the past? Because this stuff is always buzzing down here below your level of consciousness. So if
Mhm.
it finds something and it just gets to be similar, it doesn't have to be the same, immediately those chemicals take over. And because you're not running, then they will loop in those thoughts like, oh gosh, what if this, what if that? And that's a survival tactic too. So it just creates these loops that are extremely unhealthy. So what I do is I clear out all this gunk that is creating the similarities. So when the mind is searching, it doesn't find any similarities because it gets that everything you've ever experienced is gone. It's over. No action is required. You already survived it because that's what it's concerned with.
We'll be back after a quick break.
I've been thinking a lot about patterns lately, especially the ones that show up in our relationships. For a long time, mine looked like overgiving, people pleasing, and convincing myself that if I shrink myself down just a little bit smaller, I would be enough. But knowing a pattern and actually breaking it are two very different things. And trying to untangle that alone can feel overwhelming. That's where therapy can help. Having outside support can help you recognize your patterns without judgment and make choices that actually support you. And that's why I'm grateful for today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp makes therapy more accessible by connecting you with a licensed therapist online so you can get the right support in a way that fits your life and your schedule. Love and Latte listeners can get 10% off their first month of therapy by going to betterhelp.com/love and lattes or by clicking the link in today's episode description. Breaking cycles isn't about fixing yourself, it's about learning to love yourself differently. So when you have these experiences, whether it's, a small or even large scale trauma event, and then your brain, like let's say you're on a walk, right? And you're looking around and you're trying to be present, but then suddenly your mind can't help it. It's like, oh, well, don't go down that way, or don't go too far. The sun's going down, things like that. How can you speak to your subconscious so that you can enjoy where you are? Or, let's say like that is your goal. You're like, I want to show up for myself. I want to be brave. Like you said, speaking like a 4-year-old. So what do you do in those cases? Because I feel like it is more common than we realize for people to stay in that cycle of what if, what if, what if, the survival fear based thought pattern. So how do we get out of that?
Yeah, it's interesting because as you're speaking, I believe that there's a company or an institute called Heart Math Institute, and they study the electromagnetic field of the heart, which is extremely large. And most of us as children were trained not to listen to our intuition. We were
Mm,
trained to, hey, give grandma a kiss. You're like, ew, that's gross. I don't want to kiss grandma. Or go sit, give Uncle Sal a hug. Like, ew, he's gross, right? Or say you're
right.
sorry when we're not. And we're trained not to listen to our inner guidance. So as you're speaking, some of that could be your intuition. And so I'm not likely to say ignore it. If it happens every time you go out for a walk, then there's definitely stuck data. Here's the good news and the bad news. The bad news I'll give you first. It's nearly impossible to clear it on your own. It's like if you go to the dentist with a toothache and he's like, here's some painkillers, I'll refill it every 30 days for you, but you're going to just have to live with it. You would never accept that. It's treating the symptom, not the root cause. You'd say, no, fix it today. I want a root canal. Like, fix it.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. It's like I go to the core without people having to relive anything. And I eliminate it. I eliminate the charge completely. And then you're free and you can actually determine, you can figure out what's my intuition and what's fear. Because intuition is different than fear. And so important. There's that word. It's valuable. See, I catch myself. I'm not perfect, but I catch it sometimes.
So so tell me more about that. Tell me more about the fear versus intuition, because I think I've never heard that before.
Oh, intuition is more of a clear knowing, and it depends how you receive it. I'm super auditory, or I'll get a sensation in my body that's like the body will physically go backward a lot of times if something's not meant for you. Physically, you'll fall backward. And if it's meant for you, you ever get invited to something, you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And your body's open and expansive and it goes forward. It's like, yes. And it literally will fall forward. So I've done a lot of different things in my lifetime, but one is muscle checking or applied kinesiology. And I test food this way. Like, is this food still good? If it's been in the refrigerator a questionable amount of time, I'm like, so I just hold it rather than smelling it because that's gross. And if I fall backward, it's spoiled. If I stay neutral, it's about to be spoiled, but it's fine today. And if I fall forward, it's good. So
Hmm.
it's the same with anything. If you just allow your body to be in a natural position as you're standing and you're not controlling it, and then you just say, shall I go forward? And then your body will move for you. Is this a good decision for me right now? Yes. Should I go out with this person? Hell no. Like you might go flying backward.
I think that's a great point. And I remember this was actually a few years ago when I had my own coach, and I learned how to do it was like a check-in with the body, like a body compass, right? And so there were certain decisions I was having to make, and it was like, well, check in, like, does this feel for me in certain situations or even conversations felt like a corset. And
Mm.
then in other ways, it felt like I could open my heart and be like, yeah, I want to pour my love and like heart into this. But other situations, I'm like, no, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Yeah, exactly. And I will caution you because a lot of people are like, oh, my intuition's telling me not to post online, not to show up. It's not your intuition,
Mm,
that's fear. So the other thing is, what's your goal or intention? And is this action that you're considering taking moving you toward it? If it is, and you've never done it, you're going to experience fear. That's how the mind is set up. It's designed to protect you from rejection, which it equals abandonment, which equals death.
right.
So it's really hard to do it on your own because we are so tricky with ourselves. Like
I think
I
we can just second guess ourselves.
well, I have had this journey with denial where I think, oh, I know this and I'm so clear on what I should do. And then my mind will be like, oh, but if you do that, this will happen. I'll be like, oh yeah, okay. My intuition's telling me not to do this thing. Like, yeah, that's your intuition, fraidy cat. It's like, I don't know, it's a journey. And for me, I just, when I catch it, I laugh. I'm like, okay, yeah, there it is. Thank you for protecting me. And one thing that I like to do is remind my mind of all the risks I've taken that have not killed me. Look, I did this thing. I've never done it before and I didn't die. Look, I spoke on this stage and I didn't die. Oh my gosh. My palms sweated. My heart beat really fast. But look, this is really good. So if you place your fingers on your carotid artery, find your pulse. Oh my gosh, I'm still alive. I've survived everything. And it's just a simple reminder that gets you in your body like, oh, yep, that didn't kill me.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful point. Like, I think, yeah, we tend to, we can't help but overanalyze those fears. And we're like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I should do this, especially when it comes to going after what we want, whether it's career, relationships, or just general well-being. And I feel like it is important, and we tend to let go or even forget, like, actually, you have survived. You have overcome some of the most scariest and most difficult things, whether it's a breakup, a job loss, or having to put boundaries down, like in for a moment, it's like it feels like death. But in reality, it's not. And then you become stronger for it. And when we have that moment of gratitude to reflect on those moments, like you said, even just putting your fingers on the carotid and being like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah, there's an analogy I use quite often, and it is, imagine there's a soldier and he's crawling through the mud, and he had gotten separated from his platoon about 2 weeks ago. He's crawling through the mud. There's snakes, there's bugs. It's hot, it's humid. He's carrying a bunch of gear. And what he doesn't realize is that the war ended 2 weeks ago and his side already won. So we have some really good news for this guy. So it's the same with your subconscious mind. You've already survived everything you've ever been through. You did what there was to do. You survived. The mind just hasn't gotten the message yet in a language it understands. Because
Mhm.
when things come in big, they get stuck there. And the mind thinks that they are either happening right now, about to happen, or just happened, most likely all three at once. So it's sending this cocktail of chemicals to get you ready to experience this terrible thing that just happened. And it's really creates a lot of confusion and dis-ease in the body. I deal with a lot of sexual trauma. It's one of my favorite things to work with because it's one session I can clear it. So usually I do 3 sessions with people. If sexual trauma comes up, they don't usually tell me on a consultation call, believe it or not. And I just had this happen recently, and it came up, and I'm like, we're going to clear this first because the mind creates so much meaning about the person, about life, about God, about men, women, whatever. And the meaning is what creates the suffering.
Mm.
So what does it mean about me that nobody protected me? What does it mean about me that I wore that cute outfit and got attention? What does it mean about me that I'm soiled? That's a big one. I'm soiled, I'm dirty, nobody's going to want me. What does it mean about me if it happened in childhood that nobody protected me? My mom let these people babysit me or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I clear all of that, and the amount of energy that's then available for them in this moment to heal, to think strategically. There's no forgiveness involved. It's not necessary because it's over. There's nothing to do about it. And the only purpose of a disturbing emotion, thought, sensation, impulse, or habit is your mind wants you to take an action right now to have that thing not have happened back then. When it gets that it's over, you did what there was to do. You survived. It stops sending energy to something that can't be responded to. And all that energy becomes available here.
Ooh, I love that. That was really big. And I would encourage listeners to go back and re-listen to that, because I do feel like that is that is directly correlated to the fact that we'll find ourselves in situations or decisions and we're blocking ourselves because our mind is like, we're still back there. And that's one of the ways that we are literally limiting our potential for a more exciting life, a healthier relationship, experiencing love, that boost of confidence in yourself, you know, more, more, more.
Yeah. And it's so common. And, the way that most people are taught these days is like, oh, you got to feel it to heal it. And people that have been through that level of trauma don't want to relive it. And good for them because it's not useful at all. Because when you relive it, your mind thinks it's happening again.
Yeah,
And, the therapeutic model is great for a lot of things. I think it's terrible for this. I think it does women and men a great disservice because it makes the problem worse. So we never relive it. People don't tell me their stories. It's not necessary. And that's why I could do it in one session, because I don't have them rocking in the fetal position. I
right.
have them moving forward. I have an intention for the session. I'm responsible for causing that intention to happen, not them. So in therapy, you might say, hey, I'm not getting any better. And they're like, well, you're not doing the work or whatever. But they're not going to say that's because I lacked the skill. They would never say that. I would say that to somebody. If they don't get the transformation, I'll say, I lacked the skill to cause it. And being responsible to that degree is what gives me power. I mean, I create massive shifts in every single session because that's my intention. And I'm like, I'm there for it. I'm like, let's go, let's go. And we have a combined intention. And me being responsible for causing it, I do what comes to mind. And I never know what it's going to be. It's kind of fun. Talk about intuition, right? I'm like, really? I'm like, I question it sometimes. I'm like, really? You want me to do that for this? You're like, not what I was taught. It's not what a good girl would do. No.
This is amazing. Thank you, Karen. And I, even I myself have learned something, especially when it comes to how I speak to myself, and especially getting very specific on the things we want, whether it's present or goal wise. So I would encourage listeners to, if this was a lot of information, go back. Karen dropped a lot of great truth bombs, and you can apply this for your own subconscious mind and maybe even start with how would you speak to your 4-year-old self versus saying, I am rich. Well, what does a rich person do? Like, ask that question. And if you are looking to have that one-on-one time, definitely look into people who can support that. Just like Karen, I myself and others can do that for you, because when it comes to treating, these patterns, these things that are holding you back, there is, like Karen said, there's a root cause for it, and it can be removed so that you can be liberated and step more into your power. So thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for being on Love and Lattes and sharing your expertise with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. That was a beautiful summary. Well done. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you, everybody for listening and watching.
Yes, and don't forget, everybody, the goat. The goat. I love it. It's so cute. All right, everyone, have the best day, and we'll see you in the next episode.